I'm Mr. Roboto, back again with the September 27, 2021 trade review. As always, we'll start with my QQQ thesis for the day, and then we'll go over the one trade I took, which was Tesla calls during the high of day break in the morning. As for a reflection, we'll talk about two things: walking away from choppy mornings, and then avoiding breakout fake outs using volume price analysis. Let's dive right in. So these were my levels for QQQ. As you can see, on Friday, in extended hours, we ended up reaching new levels, but then in pre-market today, we had this extended sell-off. I had this 1 hour demand. If you go to 1 hour, I had this 1 hour demand level from Friday, but as you can see, we sliced right through it in pre-market, and then we ended up rallying from it a little bit below it. So we sliced through this 1 hour demand, and then the buyers came in, they stepped up and they brought it back up, but then the sellers took over again, and then we sliced through again. Anytime I see a demand zone getting violated like this and the price just slicing through, I lose confidence in this demand zone, and I no longer look to buy or go long in this demand zone. So as you can see, we rallied in the morning. If you took this long right here, or if you waited for this dip and went long, you got burned because this demand zone did not hold up. Very quickly, we ended up selling off, and we actually bounced almost exactly on this 2 hour demand zone that I had identified previously. Again, anytime I see a demand zone getting violated like this, I don't look to go long. This is actually potentially a good short opportunity. But yeah, I don't go long here. This is a textbook fake out in QQQ, especially with the extended selling. There's a good likelihood that there's going to be continued selling at open. So I had this 2 hour demand zone. It almost worked perfectly. I'll show you how I ended up getting that demand zone. So right here, QQQ. There was this 2 hour demand zone here. Let me put some more days on here. There you go. So we had this 2 hour demand zone right here. I used this red basing candle. I took the open of this red basing candle, and then from there all the way down to almost down to its wick, this formed my 2 hour demand zone. You can see we sold off here, we rallied, we based here for a little bit, and then we ended up rallying again. I did not have too much confidence in this 2 hour demand zone, so I was a little surprised that this actually held up. And the reason why it was because the price didn't bounce from this zone as strongly as I would have expected it to. Anytime I see the price basing in a zone for an extended period for more than 1, 2, or 3 candles, I lose a little bit of confidence in that demand zone. Ideally, you'd like to see a zone like this, where so say there was a demand zone right here. Ideally, you would like to see price going into the level and then just bouncing right out of it. Here, price went into the zone and it hovered here for a little bit. So there's a little bit more indecision here, more than I'd like. So I didn't have too much weighing on this 2 hour demand zone, but it is nice to see that it actually did hold up. And then I had another zone here, this 365 zone. This was another 2 hour zone. I thought that if we did slice through it, then this would be the zone that we would go to next. Where did I get my supply zones? It's on the 30-minute. So again, 30-minute has been working very, very well for me. This is my observation of the current market. 30-minute demand zones and supply zones in extended hours have been working. As you can see in the morning, when we sold off, when QQQ sold off, the price based around here for about 30 minutes before selling off again. And then it did it again, based here before selling off again. So it tells me if the price does get to this level again, it would be met with some selling resistance. And as you can see, almost perfect selling resistance at this 30-minute supply. This is why I say 30-minute supply has been working. I will continue to use it until it is proven that it no longer works. If you would have used the 1 hour, you would not have seen these zones. There's no green basing candles for you to have used as your zones. You would not have seen those 30-minute demand zones. That's why 30-minute, despite what other videos you might be seeing, and in extended hours have been working. Had you had this zone, you would have known that you would have seen supply right here. Okay, so that was my analysis of QQQ. I did think that we were going to sell off. I did think that this 1 hour demand zone was not going to hold up. That became true. I was a little bit surprised that we bounced at this zone, but in hindsight, this actually was a pretty good place to bounce, considering the extended sell-off that had already happened in the morning. It might have been a little too much of a move if we sold off down to here. This does look like it would have been a good bounce. But the only equity I was looking to play today was Tesla. And Tesla, compared to QQQ, had relative strength today. Relative strength this morning. As you can see, it actually rallied. It broke pre-market high. It broke pre-market high right at open. So immediately I'm thinking Tesla has a relative strength. It did go back down, but it never broke pre-market low. It never broke pre-market low. And remember, QQQ is selling off at this time. Tesla is actually still up here. It's holding its gains from Friday. If you remember, if you go back to QQQ, this was Friday. Tesla sold off all of its gains from Friday. QQQ sold off all of its gains from Friday. Whereas Tesla was holding up in the upper third of its gains from Friday. The fact that it wasn't even able to touch this clear 30-minute demand showed me that Tesla really had relative strength going into the day. But it was very hard to play it in the morning. There was a lot of fake outs this morning. Even with Tesla, even though it was relatively strong, it was still very tough to play. Right in the morning, I did overnight some contracts from Tesla. I bought here and I bought here. Right at this morning pop, I sold. And the reason why I sold everything here was because, again, the context of the overall market. QQQ was selling off. Despite having relative strength, I was worried that Tesla could be dragged down with the overall indices. So, and then having, not really the best entries from Friday, I was happy to take my profits here on these contracts. So that was the first execution I did this morning. And I was evaluating Tesla for long or short all day, all morning. I almost went into contracts here, but I held off because it wouldn't have been. I would have zero confirmation that Tesla was going to continue if I would have bought right here. I was considering going short on Tesla right here. The context at this moment was that QQQ was all the way down here and Tesla was still up here. And there was a potential that Tesla could just keep selling off. But I held off because, again, there was no confirmation in this move. And then I almost went and bought puts right here. I was very close to pulling the trigger. Then I realized last second, this is a FOMO buy. I'm buying late into this downtrend move. And there was no confirmation. Tesla had yet to break the low of pre-market lows. So there was a chance that it could actually just bounce from here. So I held off on buying puts. And again, that was the right decision. So the theme here is on choppy mornings, when there's a lot of up and down, and there's a lot of indecision. If you don't have discipline and you act on your emotions and you chase the upside or the downside move, you're going to get burned. You're going to get burned. The theme for today was to wait for the setup, to be patient, and to wait for essentially the setup to happen and wait for confirmation. If you would have bought puts right here, you would have got burned. If you would have went long right here, you would have got burned. it's very tough to hold through this. It's very tough to hold through this. It's very tough to hold through this. If you bought calls up here, almost guaranteed you sold here. And if you didn't sell right here, I don't know what to tell you. 9 out of 10 times you're going to get burned really bad because this move might continue, right? Again, so if you bought calls here, you got burned. Bought puts here, you got burned. If you saw this rally right here and you didn't wait for confirmation to see if it would have broken out, if you would have bought calls right here, you would have got burned. So I tweeted this out. In choppy markets, you really have to test your discipline. You have to practice discipline, and you have to wait for the setups to come to you. And don't FOMO buy into anything. When I saw this move, I took a deep breath and I said, okay, I'm going to play Tesla on the breakout. It has to break high of day. It has to show me that it has buying volume, and the indices can't 100% just crap themselves. Those are my 3 criteria to play Tesla breakout. Okay, so this was my analysis on the volume. So using volume price analysis, I was able to look at the volume from the past couple of days, or mainly yesterday, on Tesla. So on the 15-minute, you can see, well, this is not actually good. On the 30-minute was the one that actually gave me my confidence in buying the Tesla breakout. So as you can see here, when Tesla had its big breakout on Friday, this was the 30-minute volume. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of this. This was the 30-minute volume on Tesla, which going back into the entire previous week was the most buying volume that it had, right? But as you can see, on the first 30-minute of today, Tesla had more than double this buying volume, more than double. Yes, it did get stuffed. The sellers came in here and they brought it back down, but that doesn't mean the buyers are not present. The buyers are 100% present in this move. There was just some temporary selling. I think the people who were going short on Tesla saw the weakness in the QQQ, and they saw this as an opportunity to go short on Tesla. And it did work for the most part. For the beginning of the morning, it did work. But this buying volume is very telling. Look at how much volume that we have here in the first hour and a half compared to this. And this is the move that we put in Friday. So you would think with this much volume, we would put in at least some sort of similar move, right? Yes, there is some worry about buyer exhaustion, but this for me was still a good sign, especially when I saw these hammer candles, these lower wicks being printed on the 30-minute time frame. This gave me confidence into buying this Tesla breakout. And the 15-minute actually had a really good wick that convinced me that the breakout, if the volume stayed, would be good. Look, this 15-minute wick, lower wick, I really like this. I thought this was a good sign. And then the fact that we sold off this large volume selling candle, this large bodied selling candle with lower volume gave me confidence that potentially if Tesla did test high of day, it could keep going. So that's exactly what I did. Based my entries off of the 2-minute. And QQQ and the indices look like they were recovering at this time. So again, that was all confluence for me to buy this breakout. All the criteria that I was looking for were checked off. There was buying volume, the indices were recovering, and Tesla was breaking high of day. So I actually bought right around here. So this was the first 2-minute candle. I didn't buy here. It went back down, and then it went back up. And then when I saw this go down on low volume, on this candle, this 2-minute candle on low volume, that's when I went ahead and bought. I I took a starter, and then on this hammer candle, I went ahead and bought the rest of my position, and I bought it here. So I wrote that up. I sold some here, and then I sold some here. And, on Friday, my reflection was that I sold a little bit too early. So I wanted to hold these contracts a little bit longer than I did on Friday. That's exactly what I did. So at this point, I was still in for the majority of my position. Yes, I had scaled. I think by this time on Friday, I had already scaled a good maybe 75% of my position. At this point in the day today, I still had about 50% of my position. And my target was around 801. I knew there was going to be some resistance before that. I thought 789 was going to be a really good level. There was a 45-minute supply here. That's why I scaled at 789. And the next level I thought was, I didn't think 797. I did think that we were going to, on the way to testing 800, I thought we would hit 796 to 797. So when we did touch 797, I didn't sell, but I did end up selling and taking some more scales right here. And then I went ahead and put the rest on stop. My stop was right around this zone. So if the price action did get back into here, I'd be stopped out for my remaining contracts. Now, I did potentially want to buy a breakout in Tesla again at the break of 797. So it was around this time I was analyzing Tesla to see if I wanted to buy this breakout. I had the contracts queued up and I was really considering it. But then as always, I use volume price analysis to analyze the move to see if it's something I really want to get into. Well, if you look at the 15-minute volume on Tesla, when it did break out on Friday, notice it ran up, made high a day, pulled back, and then it had this high a day break. You're seeing the same setup here today. Tesla broke out, pulled back, so there's a potential for another high a day break and then a continuation. Well, I mean, what better way to analyze the current move with the move that just happened the day before? Well, if you look at the volume on Tesla, let's go ahead and make this bigger. Oops. So if we analyze the volume on Tesla, sorry for this. Thinkorswim has really been messing up recently. Why can I not click into this? Jeez. Sorry about that. Okay. So if you look at the volume here, look at this breakout volume on these candles. It's this much volume, right? I wish I could make these bigger. Okay, there you go. Look at these two candles. Here's the breakout volume. So let's go ahead and mark this. So this was the breakout volume that Tesla needed in order to break new high of day on Friday. Well, when it got to over here, this volume was so much lower. Like especially this candle right here. This candle right here was almost half the size of this first candle. Okay, we're not looking at this one. We're looking at this one, the first big red candle. I mean, the big green candle, which is, compared to this one and this one, the volume on this breakout was about half the size of the volume that was necessary for yesterday's or Friday's breakout. And then it was met with this doji. So that right there told me this high of daybreak was not, did not have volume with it. Potentially the institutions are not buying this high of daybreak. And so that right there took me off from the potential buying of this high daybreak. I went ahead and canceled that plan, and I didn't play it, which was the right move, because had I bought right here, my contracts would have been immediately underwater. I would have been buying at a premium. And then on this red candle, I probably would have been down 10, 20% almost immediately off of those contracts. And then had I waited, yes, I probably could have gotten out green right here, but there's a lot of mental capital that you're using for this move, especially if I'm waiting for 801, there's a chance that I wouldn't have exited right here. And then I would have been caught in this knife and I would have ended up losing money. And then my green contracts that I was holding probably would have, I would have lost some of the profit from the remaining contracts that I was holding had I bought in right here and taken this L, right? So that just goes to show you, using volume price analysis, compare a similar move. This was almost the same exact move that Tesla had did on Friday. It pulled back. It almost looks almost exactly the same. Compare to volume. Compare how much volume this move was required to make and to break into new highs. And if this move does not have the same volume, or has less volume, potentially don't take that trade. So yeah, that's volume price analysis with supply and demand. It's a very good strategy. It's what I use every day to analyze these moves, to whether or not I want to buy into a demand or buy puts in a supply or whatnot. But very good day. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. My Twitter is Mr. Roboto Trades. Feel free to hit me a DM. I'm also on Discord. And then yeah, if you like these videos, please subscribe. Please share videos. Please like the videos. That would help me out a lot, and it'd be great. Thanks.